Welcome back for another deep dive. We're going to be focusing on AI today, specifically a bunch of really interesting developments that all happen to drop on, get this, October 11th, 2024.
Hmm.
Yeah, all on the same day. We're talking everything from self-driving taxis to AI chips going head to head, even Wikipedia trying to keep up with AI-generated content. Wild stuff.
Yeah, it really shows you how AI is becoming less of just a tech thing and more about how it's impacting our everyday lives.
Exactly.
Like from how we get around to, what information we can actually trust.
Oh, and speaking of getting around, Elon Musk always making headlines. He announces Tesla's Cybercab and Robovan.
Right.
A $30,000 robotaxi, no steering wheel, aims for production by 2027.
Ambitious.
Yeah, a little bit, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we've seen Musk in deadlines before. Sometimes they don't always line up perfectly.
Yeah, it's good to remember that Tesla's got a bit of a history of setting some pretty ambitious timelines.
To say the least.
There's some regulatory hurdles they got to jump through, and then the technical stuff with self-driving.
Of course. Yeah,
But
yeah.
just to see a company like Tesla, really put their money where their mouth is, it's a big signal to the rest of the players in the game.
It's a big bet for sure. And I mean, that vision, right? Parking lots become parks, fleets of robotaxis, wirelessly recharging, constantly moving. I mean, it's pretty wild to think about. But while we're on the subject of AI and how it's going to get us around, there's the more immediate impact on people's jobs.
Yeah.
TikTok is in the news. They're replacing a whole bunch of human content moderators with AI.
Right.
Hundreds of people.
Yeah, and that raises some really big questions about, the future of who's really controlling what we see online.
Yeah.
On one hand, you could argue that AI might be more consistent, but then there's the whole other side of it.
Yeah.
What about the humans whose jobs are affected by this?
Right. Are we losing that human element, that judgment,
Yeah.
in favor of, pure efficiency? Thinks you think. And while we're talking about AI kind of shaking things up, let's jump over to the world of computer chips for a second. AMD is taking on Nvidia
Yeah.
with their new Instinct MI325X chip.
Catchy name.
It is, right.
Very tech.
And it's specifically made for AI.
Yeah, so this is a big deal. Nvidia has been, the king of the mountain when it comes to AI.
They've been dominating, yeah.
Totally. But now AMD's stepping into the ring. And this could be huge for competition. For people like you and me, this could mean AI tech gets cheaper down the line.
Wow, that would be a game changer.
Oh, yeah, faster development.
Especially with how fast this field's moving.
For sure.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
But it's not just the tech world, right? Even Wikipedia is wrestling with this whole AI thing. They're facing this wave of, get this, AI-generated content.
Yeah.
And they're trying to make sure that the information on there is accurate, because anyone can edit, right?
Right. And that's the challenge, is that
Yeah.
you could have an AI write an article that sounds totally legit,
Totally believable.
but it's got errors in the facts, or even just straight up made up stuff.
Really?
It's a big deal for a platform that's supposed to be like the encyclopedia, right? We rely on it.
It's supposed to be the source of truth.
Exactly. And these AI hallucinations, they're a real problem.
It's almost like we're trying to figure out the rules as we go, and the game's changing constantly.
Yeah. Yeah, and it really highlights the fact that this isn't some far-off AI future. This is, happening now,
It's right here.
right now.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about access, right? We were talking about those AI tools, the ones that can help you with languages, understanding complicated stuff. What if those got even easier to use? More people could get them because the tech behind it got cheaper.
Hmm.
That's one thing that could happen with this AMD and Nvidia showdown.
It's true, yeah. I hadn't thought about it that way. That's really interesting. It's like the cost of entry for everyone goes down. Developers, users, everyone opens up a lot of possibilities. But okay, let's go back to those self-driving taxis for a sec. The idea of cities designed around parts, not parking lots, that's cool and all, but practically, how does that even work? It's almost too big to even get your head around.
Yeah, no, it's a huge, huge change. It wouldn't happen overnight, that's for sure.
No.
But imagine this. City planners, they're using AI, but simulations
Okay.
to model different ways things could go.
Right, got it.
So they're analyzing traffic, figuring out demand, designing everything for these autonomous vehicles.
Wow.
dedicated lanes for self-driving cars, traffic lights that adapt on the fly, even like pricing that changes based on how busy it is.
So we're not just talking about the cars themselves, we're talking about changing like the entire system of the city.
Exactly. And that's what's so crazy about it. You go from just transportation to like urban planning, the environment, even social equality. It's all connected.
It's like AI becomes this tool to solve these massive, complicated problems that we never thought we could. It's pretty wild. But of course, there are still concerns, right? I mean, like with those robotaxes, safety has got to be the biggest one.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the real hurdle. It's not even just about making sure there aren't accidents.
Right.
It's about getting the public to trust these things.
Yeah.
People need to feel like, okay, this is safe. I can trust this thing to drive me around, before they just give up the wheel.
Of course, yeah. I mean, driving is such a core part of our lives, it makes sense that there's going to be some hesitation, some fear even.
Absolutely.
But speaking of trust, or maybe the lack of it, this whole AI content moderation thing, it brings up this issue of bias. Like, if these AI systems are learning from data that we made that has our biases in it, aren't we just going to end up with even more bias just on a bigger scale?
That's a huge concern. Like if the data that trains these systems has biases baked in, say certain groups are overrepresented or not represented enough, then the AI is going to pick that up and it's just going to get worse.
Right.
It'd be like looking at the world through a distorted lens.
Yeah, and that's a scary thought, especially when you're talking about controlling information, which is incredibly powerful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why we need to know exactly how these AIs are being trained.
Transparency.
Yes. What data are they using? How much weight are they giving to different parts of the data? What are they doing to fight against those biases?
That's not just about building a smarter AI, it's about building a fairer AI.
You got it. It takes everyone working together, developers, people making policies, even just us in society, to make sure this technology actually reflects our values, and that it makes the world a more equal place, not less.
It's a tall order, that's for sure. But I think, the fact that we're having these conversations now at this point in time, it's crucial.
Totally agree. Now, remember we talked about Wikipedia dealing with all that AI-generated content.
Yeah.
This isn't just about, catching a few articles written by bots. This is about the truth, Like, what even is real information anymore?
That's a good point, yeah. It's one thing if it's just like a social media post, even a short news thing, but whole articles, essays,
Right.
that's different.
Think about it.
Yeah.
You're reading something, sounds totally believable, maybe even smart, but some of the facts are just a little off. Or, worse, the AI just made them up.
And you'd never know.
Never. Because it's all packaged up nicely in this official-looking article.
Great, right.
It's the same old fake news problem, but with the twist,
Yeah.
makes you realize we need way better ways to tell what's real and what's not online, especially when AI is involved.
That's like we need a whole new set of skills just to read the internet.
And that's where that article, the one about rewarding progress, that's relevant.
Okay.
Researchers, they're working on AI, but AI that can tell us if other AI is being truthful.
Wait, so it's like AI watching other AI?
Kind of. These verifier AIs, they look at the logic, the evidence behind what another AI writes,
Wild.
looking for anything fishy, inconsistencies, bad logic, even if the sources are no good.
That's really interesting. I mean, it's kind of reassuring in a way,
Yeah.
But switching gears for a sec, I want to hear more about those other AI tools, the cool ones. You mentioned some that help with languages and even making video game worlds. Tell me more.
Yeah, it's like AI becomes this creative partner, helping you do things you wouldn't be able to do on your own.
Right. And for people who aren't super technical, these tools make it way easier to get started. Think about language learning apps, but with AI. You could have a conversation with it. It understands how you're saying things, fixes your grammar, even changes how it talks to you based on how you learn best.
Wow, it's like a personalized tutor available all the time.
Totally.
That's amazing. Okay, but before we go too far down that road, I want to loop back to something you mentioned earlier, the AI benchmarks, remember, how they show us what AI agents are good at and what they're not so good at. Can you break that down a bit more?
Oh, yeah, totally. Think of it like a video game. Great.
Okay, I like where this is going. Each level, it's a new challenge, yeah. Well, AI benchmarks, they're kind of like those levels. Researchers make these tests, and the AIs have to solve them, but they get harder and harder.
So this OpenAI MLE bench, that's the latest, toughest level.
Exactly. We were saying how AI agents are supposed to take action, solve problems in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Emily Bench tests that. It uses these real competitions from a site called Kaggle. So it's basically putting the AIs up against, like, the best human data scientists out there.
No kidding. So how'd they do? Are they taking our jobs yet?
Well, here's the interesting thing. They were awesome at the stuff that was like using normal techniques, recognizing patterns in data, that kind of thing. But when it came to the stuff that needs creativity, strategy, or dealing with something totally unexpected, they struggled.
Ah, so there's still some work to do.
For sure. But that's the beauty of these benchmarks. We see not just what AI can do, but also what it needs to get better at. It's like finding the weak spots in your video game character, right? Then you know where to focus.
That makes sense. It makes you wonder, though, what does it even mean for AI to be, quote unquote, better or more intelligent? Is it just solving harder math problems, or is it more about actually understanding the world like we do?
Ooh, good question. Philosophers, computer scientists, they've been trying to figure that out forever.
Right.
No easy answer. But I think it's important to remember that AI, at its heart, is a tool. Just like any tool, it can be used in good ways or bad ways. The future of AI, it really comes down to what we decide to do with it. Our values, the problems we pick to solve, the guardrails we put in place, that's what's going to shape this whole thing.
It's exciting, but kind of scary too, right? Knowing that what we choose to do now will affect how this all plays out.
It is, definitely.
Yep.
But I'm hopeful, the people doing this work, they're creative, they're smart, they're determined. If we do this right with responsibility by working together, focusing on what's good for everyone, then I think AI can really make things better for all of us.
That's a great point to end on, I think. So that's our deep dive into the world of AI for today. We've gone from self-driving cars and AI deciding what we see online to like how we even measure AI's intelligence and what it means to be, well, intelligent in the first place.
Ooh.
That's a lot. It is a lot.
Yeah.
But it's clear that AI is changing everything super fast. This conversation about its impact, good and bad, it's just getting started. So to everyone listening, thank you for going on this journey with us. We hope you learned something new, got you thinking, maybe sparked some ideas of your own. Keep those questions coming. Keep imagining what's possible. We'll see you next time.